Twitch's chief product officer fumbles through a live stream about AI. Nintendo is saying goodbye to the Pokemon Bank. And Marvel Rivals fans might be gamers, but they aren't playing when it comes to getting their justice. Welcome to the Rupee Wrap-Up. I'm your Red Rupee and Celestial Dragon Slayer 13 Cross, and I'm going to try my best not to talk about Kingdom Hearts, because we're going to be here all day if I do. First, we got to talk about Twitch. If you haven't heard, Twitch is currently making headlines this week after streamers learned that their streams and content would be used to train AI models. One of the biggest issues with this is that the setting is enabled by default, and individual users would have to take steps to opt out opposed to choosing to opt in. But what really set users off is comments regarding this situation made by Twitch Chief Product Officer Mike Minton during a live stream. When asked why the decision was made to make this feature opt out instead of opt in, he plainly stated, "There's an honest answer, and I think most of you can appreciate it. If it was opt in, nobody would opt in."
Everybody, as I hear spamming in chat, I get it. Let me opt in versus making me opt out. Well, there's an honest answer, and I think most of you probably can appreciate this. Like, if it was opt in, nobody would opt in. That's honestly the answer. So by it's going to be on by default, and as I said, almost every content service in the world is on by default. I think the thing that we're doing here that is unique and different is respecting your wishes to opt out of model training. And I know this is not a fan favorite. I know it's very upsetting to the community, but this is where we are.
A lot of people are saying that Minton is saying the quiet part out loud with this, that they already know that their users do not want this. When pressed further by the live chat, Minton found himself struggling to answer some of the questions coming his way. When one user asked if their VODs have already been used for AI training, Mike Minton gave a noticeably pregnant pause before stating that he doesn't actually know the answer to that question.
Minton, Spooky Biscuits asks, have my VODs already been used for training?
In terms of, I don't actually know the answer to that question, because I don't know what Amazon Amazon in this case has done in terms of model training and what they've used and not used.
This was followed by Twitch head of community Mary Kish informing that opting out removes your previously collected training. Users have taken this to mean that VODs and previous streams have already been collected for the purpose of these AI training models. Mary Kish went on to say that she didn't actually ask ambassadors about their opinions regarding this, as she was, quote, tight-lipped on what questions or information they were allowed to provide.
I can't speak to all creators, but I can speak to the ambassador program. I did not ask ambassadors their thoughts. We were pretty tight-lipped on what we were able to ask or provide. I did read through all of the user voice entries, and I am very aware of the current vibe and reaction from this community on AI, period. And so I was able to utilize that. I'm sorry I couldn't invite the ambassadors for your reactions early.
I find it very interesting that she chose to use the words allowed to provide. This, combined with the lack of knowledge regarding exactly how this will affect the platform, is kind of a clear indication that this decision came from much, much higher up. For example, when asked what happens when a creator who's opted out streams together with a creator who's still opted in, both Mike Minton and Mary Kish responded as if the idea had never crossed their minds before.
Squishy asks, what happens if a creator who opted out is collabing with a creator that opted in for a stream together session? That's a good question.
Stream together session.
So if you were opted in and I was opted out and we streamed together, what would happen?
That's a good question. What we should do there is respect the, obviously the opt-out. So we'll take that one back. And
the cherry on top was viewers learning that Twitch's very own official live streams will be opted out of the AI learning feature. You don't need me to tell you how upset fans have been about this. They've been pretty vocal about this all week, especially considering this news wasn't even delivered via email or even on Twitch's main social media pages. Their support page tweeted this out. That's the only reason people know about it. Anyway, let me know how you feel about it. At this point, I wouldn't mind if another streaming service popped up, but that's just me. Next, really quick, we gotta talk about Pokemon. Earlier this week, Pokemon Company confirmed that Fire Red and Leaf Green, which saw releases earlier this year, will be getting home support in October. The Pokemon Home app is the current app that lets you transfer your captured Pokemon from one game to another. But before we had the Pokemon Home app, we had the Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transfer. This was the go-to tool when it came to transferring Pokemon from your DS to your 3DS and from game to game. But with our most recent announcement, it's also been announced that Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transfer services will come to an end. Players will have until February 25th of 2027 to move any Pokemon from the Pokemon Bank services onto Pokemon Home. Here's the kicker though, Nintendo 3DS eShop services ended 2 years ago. Oh, that says 3 years, doesn't it? I'm getting old. This means that the only people who are able to use the app right now are the ones who already had it downloaded on their systems. While there isn't a whole lot of use for the Pokemon Bank these days, there's definitely a few players out there reminiscing about their earlier days trying to catch them all. If I remember correctly, I have a single Charizard sitting in my bank, but if we're getting Fire Red again, getting another Charbaby won't be a big deal. Anyway, how do you feel about it? Are you sad to see the bank go? When's the last time you dusted off your 3DS? And finally, we should talk about Marvel Rivals. If fans are going to be anything, they are going to be vocal. The latest display of this comes in the form of the absolute outrage Marvel Rivals devs faced after announcing the latest skin for Hero and X-Men Storm. Fans have already been discussing how Storm hasn't received nearly the same amount of attention as other characters, with her only having one legendary skin while other characters like Magik, Psylocke, and even Invisible Woman, who was a later addition, already have 5 legendary skins. The discussion reached a boiling point after the Rivals team announced Storm's new swimsuit-themed skin, where not only was this not a legendary like some of the other swimsuit-themed skins, but 2 of the 3 customizable options were virtually identical, with the only difference being Storm's necklace. Fans were absolutely livid, and a bunch of them headed straight toward the Marvel Rivals official Discord to let their frustrations be known. If a hashtag could trend inside a Discord, I have no doubt that Justice for Storm would have been number 1. On a bit of a side note, this led to some very interesting and telling interactions with some of the mods that were in the Discord server. A few users have said a particular mod began muting people just for expressing their feelings on the matter, particularly in regard to pointing out the pattern of difference of treatment of black characters in the game. This led to users calling for the mod in question to be stripped of their power. The Rivals team has made it clear that they have heard their fans, though. In a separate statement released later that day, they let it be known that they are listening to the fans and would be making some immediate changes to the character. These changes include upgrading the costume from Epic to Legendary, which would give the skin its own lobby animation as well as the updated MVP animation, and players who already purchased the skin at the time of update will receive the ultimate effect for the skin for free. They also promised that there will be more legendary skins for Storm to come. They then closed the statement by stating that harassment of their staff and moderators is totally unacceptable, which I completely agree with. At the same time, I was in that Discord when everything was going down, and I can say there was a moderator who was silencing people for the most innocuous reasons. I'm not the first person to bring it up, so I was kinda hoping the Marvel Rivals team would talk about it. It's never good to abuse your power. I mean, considering this is a Marvel game, they should know with great power comes great responsibility. But that's been our show, and I made it all the way to the end without talking about Kingdom Hearts. I've been your Red Rupee. Thanks for hanging out with me. Please hit a few buttons on the way out, and I look forward to having you back. Peace.